Whenever I talk about Milky Way during a live stream, during a Zoom call, there are 10 images that I pull up from a folder called PromoPics. As you look at these 10 images, is there something you notice about them? A consistency here? A pattern? Yeah. This one, and this one are the only three that are this time of Milky Way. Vertical Milky Way. So why should I, a self-professed Milky Way nerd, apparently treat vertical Milky Way as a reject time of year? Why do I reject so often my vertical Milky Way images versus my panorama season Milky Way images? Let's talk about that, and let me help you see the opportunities that you have with vertical Milky Way and what to look for in your foregrounds to get the best out of it. Check out these three images. We've got Mono Lake. We have a shot from Thor's Well in the tide pool there, getting a reflection of the vertical Milky Way. And then we have another from Goosenecks that has an almost vertical, the pre-vertical tilt, just like over at Mono Lake, over Goosenecks. And these three images were rejected for different reasons. And the quick answer for each three is, first, in Goosenecks, I was doing a blue hour blend with a sunset timing, even not even true blue hour, just so I could see the chasm of the gooseneck right here. And as I connected the two together with my sky and the foreground, with any blue hour shot, you have to choose, do I blend the brightness of the foreground up into the sky, or do I take the darkness of the sky and blend it down? And in this case, I blended the brightness of the foreground up into the sky, which made it just a little too bright on the horizon for my own taste. It's not my favorite image, but it's definitely what I'm calling a souvenir shot of being there, having captured this moment and having it turned out really well. And it's easy and something to not be ashamed of to share with others and say, oh, here's an example of a vertical out at Goosenecks at this time in August, where you go and get a cool shot of a vertical Milky Way. So I'm not afraid to share this image, but it's not my go-to promo pick like others. This one in the middle, though, with the comet in the water, I couldn't pass up and get at least one capture while I was helping the group. But, I mean, vertical Milky Ways don't always speak to me because of when you're dealing with the later in the evening vertical Milky Way where it's starting to tilt and that Milky Way core has set more on the horizon. It starts to take away some of my favorite parts of the Milky Way core, and it becomes less. I mean, just look at the vibrance between this core here and this core over here, and this core over here. I mean, there is a big size difference of the galactic core when it gets cut in half on the horizon like that, and you lose my favorite row of Fuki section of the stars. So it's just, there's something missing here that keeps it out from being a promo pick. And this one was a great capture I did in Mono Lake in July. I didn't take enough care to pick a great foreground that led all the way to the bottom of my frame with interest all the way to the bottom of the frame. I have this bottom 1/8, 1/5 that is just meh, repeating textures, nothing really iconic, nothing really obvious as a subject for a hyper foreground subject. You need to perfect that hyper foreground. I basically have an afterthought for my bottom fifth of this image, and you don't want any part of your image to be an afterthought unless it's in the background. If it's in the foreground between you and your subject, it needs to be purposefully thought of. Let me emphasize that. If anything is between you and the main subject of your image, it needs to be really thought about and nothing be an afterthought. And then beyond your main subject, it can be an afterthought back there in the background of foreground elements, and then your sky is your other main focus and how it balances out, where the Milky Way is between you and your subject, if it's lined up, if it's on the right or left, stuff like that. I could have done more to make my foreground even stronger, but I really do love the soft star effect. As I was out there that night with Alan, and Alan was asking me to use this filter that he's doing for his YouTube video. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll use it. And he challenged me to stay away from the core. And all night I had to do other captures of, constellations with this filter. But when it came to my own personal photography, I had to at least get one good image where I captured the core, because I'm such a freaking Milky Way galactic core nerd and addict. So I captured this one, but I hastily did it where I didn't perfect my foreground to make sure that this bottom part was just singing, and it was a good capture, a souvenir shot for sure, a memory of being there that night, a really cool glow of the stars, the star color popping. I love it. I absolutely do, and I'm absolutely not ashamed to share it. but it's a vertical reject and it's not a PromoPic. So now I want to take a moment and just break down the differences between a panorama timing of Milky Way versus the vertical Milky Way. And the way I'm going to do that is by sharing my favorite absolute panorama picture and a couple other panorama pictures so you can see, oh yeah, panorama pictures are different in these ways versus vertical. And I really want to key in on the things that you need to focus on to make sure your vertical Milky Way season turns out great and you don't get too many vertical rejects like I have. Panoramas. Panoramas are easy. They have the entire arch of the Milky Way that takes up 1/2 of the image of vertically. And you've also got you don't really worry about every detail in the foreground. You just need something that complements the beautifulness of that arching Milky Way panorama. This is my absolute favorite image of all time and my favorite panorama. My second favorite panorama of all time is this one, as I love the reflected panorama below. In fact, this image right here was featured on a Tanabata special for a Japanese TV show.
ついに撮影された奇跡の一枚がこちら。
綺麗ですね。
水面に夜空が映り込む天の川の鏡面反射。
And they contacted me to ask if they could use the YouTube video and show off the picture. So I hooked them up with the high res of this image, and it featured on that Japanese show. It was awesome. And they were celebrating the Milky Way for the Tanabata holiday, and it was so cool to be included. I love this panorama, especially the reflection here. The foreground of the panorama was just the panorama again, but it works so well. The color, everything is just easy mode. This other one, similar night sky, where I had the same air glow, and the panorama has the feature of this rock. I have a photographer. There's Brendan and Jeff out there working on their photos of the intimate shot of the tree, and we have these rocks out here with the dark of the rock, the shadow part of the rock, the bright of the rock, the different light colors that are happening, and then the panorama above. It's such easy mode. This picture in particular shows off how easy it is because I couldn't get a perfect foreground. I had a very interesting background of these mountains and snow-capped in southern island New Zealand. I even got a chance finally in my life to feature what to me is an upside-down Milky Way, plus the core is in the center, and I can see the large and small Magellanic Clouds. What a great shot. I mean, it's panorama. All I had to do was just get the pano, and it was a great shot. Is it a portfolio best? No, not hardly. It doesn't really compare to those other two, my favorite and my second favorite. But it's so easy to make a panorama work, and the foreground is complementary, an accent to it. But that doesn't turn out to be the case when it comes to vertical Milky Way. You really have to have a foreground that really is brilliant and a Milky Way. It's almost vice versa, where a panorama season, you are accenting with a foreground, a complement to the Milky Way that's awesome is a foreground, and then in the vertical season, you have a great foreground shot with a complement, an accent of the Milky Way is also there. Let's talk about that different tilting Milky Way. I keep showing you pre and vertical, but what does it look like when you're tipped off to the right? This is November. November still has a vertical moment. If you go out in November for a Milky Way, prepare to have a flat terrain. In this case, I'm in Oregon. I'm off of Cape Kiwanda, looking at Chief Kiwanda Rock and enjoying the fact that there is nothing on the horizon except for my intentionally laid out overlap of the Chief Kiwanda Rock. If you were to go here, you cannot do the shot anymore because I'm in the area that's fenced off now. But if you go to the spot that is allowed, you'll see this Milky Way vertical off to the left of Chief Kiwanda Rock. And it's so great that the horizon of the ocean gives you that opening to see more of the Milky Way. But each night, each different night, different marine layer, you might have a little bit more blocked or a little bit less blocked. But this is what a November Milky Way looks when it's still vertical, and this is what a November Milky Way looks on the Secret Beach section with a fishing boat right underneath. That's not the sun or moon setting. That's just a boat on the water. And this is a reject because, look, I mean, I've got some interest of the water coming in off of the stream going into the ocean. It's got some nice sinewy lines. It almost kind of leads your eye up into here, but it's not really doing that well of a lead. It's okay. It's just okay. And then that Milky Way, there's just no vibrance to it. It doesn't have that. Let's check this out. It doesn't have this vibrance. God. This is just not as vibrant, not as strong, but that's awesome to do a Milky Way in November still and not have to be done for the year. So if you're out this November, this is what you're going to see, and it still can be great, but really focus on making that foreground just amazing. You're doing a landscape photo with a brilliant subject that is accented by that bonus of a Milky Way. Think of it that way. It's not about the Milky Way as much as it's more about that landscape shot that happens to also have a Milky Way in it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Aaron King with Photog Adventures. Come join me on Milky Way Wednesday. Come join me on a workshop. Come out there with us. We're going to be in the fall. Just next week on Labor Day, I'll be out there doing a fall workshop. You can do all of these images I'm talking about and practice Blue Hour if you want to join us. I hopefully see you at Milky Way Wednesday, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Hey, still hanging out? Do you like the studio space? You may have noticed that it kind of looks identical as the other one, but it's a completely different city. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, do I want to click on this link to subscribe? Or I think over here will be a recommended video that YouTube's saying for you. If this doesn't seem that cool, maybe you can check out this video. This is a 2-minute tip video. Love the 2-minute tip series. I'm going to be adding a lot more of those going forward. All right, later.